We are overdue a life update, a little vlog, so I've come out to the pumpkin patch and I am going to talk to you. Right, I've sat you down and propped you up, so I'm hands-free now and I've got a drink. I also have the notes I wrote. We may stick to them, we may not, but yeah, we're getting a life update, you know. I want to cover the housing/homelessness, the experience I just went through. The NDIS, both my kids are on it now, which is cool, and the process of making that happen has been a long one. I want to talk about car woes, Easter, and new tattoos that I will hopefully be getting this week. So we'll see, right? Hopefully the lighting's all right. Hopefully you don't mind the shadow across my face because of my hat. It means I don't have to, like, you know, squint and that. We're outside in natural lighting. Things are good, right? So I might pause for a thumbnail here, like life update and whatnot. I'll put that there. I'll pause it later on. But we may as well get straight into it, right? Because I've got my two kids in the house and they might kick off, so I might get in there. Might be disjointed and interrupted because I've got those two kids and there are two other kids in the house I'm living in and another adult as well, and there's lots going on, you know what I mean? So I suppose I should give you an update on that first. You know, it's been so long. I think the last like proper little life update vlog I gave you guys was why I left America, which was over a year ago. And a lot of water has gone under the bridge since then, you know what I mean? We were homeless for a while, and there's no like nice way of putting that or you know, like dulled down way of putting that. We were homeless. We were in social housing or temporary housing while we were applying for social housing, and the application for social housing is still in, but I lost a bit of faith in the system. I'm not going to lie. We certainly fell through the cracks, you know, like me and my boys. We didn't have access to a bunch of the family services that social housing provide because I'm a man, and we didn't have access to a bunch of the man-related charities and stuff because I had the kids, you know. We sort of fell through the cracks, and it was a disheartening experience to realise that that my government wasn't like as cool as I thought it was in regards to that sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like this guy Craig at social housing in Campbelltown. Like the thing that it comes down to, right, is several times I've got like several dot points for the housing thing, but several times somebody cracked a joke at me that was like funny, I guess, contextually or whatever, but like, oh, you're not trans, are you? Like, if you transitioned, maybe, like, blah, 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 like, because they get special treatment or whatever, but, like, I don't think they do. I think they just get put to the head of the front of the line, you know, just like chicks getting beat up or bashed or whatever, you know, like domestic violence victims and stuff, they get put to the front of the line, which makes sense, and I'm not begrudging that, you know what I mean? Like, those people should be ahead of me. I have two special needs kids, and I would have thought I was going to be a higher priority than I was. That's, I guess, what I'm saying. And the trans jokes were a bit like, all right, mate, you know. Falling through the cracks, already said that. So many hoops to jump through. Yeah, like, so there was this exercise in futility, right? So I was, like, from my income, I am capable of paying about $350 at a stretch, $400 a week. You know what I mean? Based on all the different avenue sources I have, like whether it be Menulog or YouTube or child support or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I could afford at a stretch roughly $400 a week. And so to stay in temporary housing with the government, like provided by the government, I had to pay them $180 a week and prove to them that I was applying for 7 houses within the price range of $400 per week, like per every 5 days, every time I had to check in with them, right? Which is just, like, as I said, my kids are both on the NDIS. We have all sorts of services that are required for their health, you know, whether they be speech therapist, occupational therapist, whatever. There's all sorts of these services that are required for my kids. Like, I literally, physically, time management-wise, cannot attend. Like, they don't exist. There are not properties with the space that we need for that price range. They just don't exist. And so it became like an exercise in futility. Like, go and apply for these houses that you definitely can't afford, that they see you can't afford and will reject you, but you have to apply for them. Otherwise, you can't be in temporary housing. And so it's like, because I'm doing that, I can't take my kid to speech therapy or whatever, because we've got to apply for so many houses that are definitely going to deny us anyway. And the exercise in futility becomes a mental health problem in and of itself. So social housing and temporary housing just creates more problems than it solves, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Obviously, the fact that we weren't sleeping on the street is amazing and brilliant. And I should mention, you know, at the end of this housing point that I am making, that we're in a house now, in my friend's house. It's two birds with one stone sort of thing, you know what I mean? Or it's a situation where she had her license taken off her because she's got a she's got a medical condition. I misspoke there. She's got a medical condition where she can't, she's got to get clearance before she can drive again. And so it just made sense, you know, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. The first time in years that I went up to the shops without my kids, without having to get my kids in the car and whatnot, was yesterday or the day before, because she was like, I'll just look after them, all good, don't stress, you know what I mean? And she's got us out of that temporary housing situation and stuff, and like, you know, I can take her kids to school before she gets the clearance. It's school holidays now, but you know what I mean? Like, it's a situation where we can both help each other, and have both helped each other in the last few weeks as well, and it's good. Our housing is solid now, you know what I mean? And we're in a really good spot, like with what I say, like with pumpkin patches and potatoes and tomatoes, and like, it's a beautiful place, you know, like, I'm so stoked about that. And I'm so stoked where we are at the minute. We're all going to move, and we're going to move both of our families into a bigger property so that we can, like I said, two birds, one stone it, you know what I mean? Sort of scratch my back, you scratch yours, like old school, like, I think, you know, in the 1930s or 40s or 50s or whatever, they'd have called it a marriage of convenience, you know what I mean? Like, we're able to help each other as single parents, and we are both single parents, just in the same space, if that makes sense, you know what I mean? And attacking it as a bit of a community vibe. NDIS wise, but yeah, I suppose that's that talking point, you know, like, it's been 7 minutes or so far. Maybe I'll edit it to being quicker, speed up my voice or something, you know, who knows? But housing was very difficult. Social housing and temporary housing, like, we're still on the list for social housing. We might get social housing, but I'm not holding my breath, that's for certain. And yeah, I'm going to pause this, check on the kids, and come back on to the NDIS point. Alrighty, I'm back. I realised I didn't really address how we ended up in housing or whatever. And the long and short of that is basically, like, my parents needed their house back. I was in their house while they were in my grandma's house. My grandma was real sick. She had cancer. And my old man fell off a ladder at work. And so, like, he fucked his hip. My grandma went into palliative care. They went into my grandma's house because it had a whole bunch of disability setups and stuff already. And then she died, his hip healed and everything, and finished up. You know, I had like 7 or 8 weeks notice. It wasn't like my parents just like put me on the street or whatever. I'm not a normal dude, you know what I mean? Like, I'm bipolar, I'm a creative sort of guy. I physically cannot have a 9-to-5 job, you know? Like, it just doesn't work. Like, I did, and I was successful at it. I was a corporate whiz kid, you know what I mean? Like, I was a C-suite level in the insurance industry before I turned 21. But then I turned 21 or 22, had a crisis of confidence, or not confidence. I'm the most confident person you ever meet, hence the YouTube channel and video and whatnot. But had a crisis of I had reverse culture shock. I went to Africa for a while, Tanzania, South Africa, then Tanzania, and came back to Australia, and I was like, the fuck are we doing here? What is this shit? This is weird. You know, like, all of this shit, like tax, credit scores, tax systems, like, fuck up. Can't I just grow some potatoes, have a chicken farm, and just exist? But yeah, anyway, point being, I think I had 7.5 weeks notice, formally and officially, of when I had to leave my parents' house, which is far more than I needed. And yeah, the country I live in is the best country in the world for people like me, and it's still not quite adequately set up for our success or our thriving, you know what I mean? So it's a bit of an effort. And yeah, the day came that they were moving back, and so we went into temporary housing with the government, provided by the government, which is always an option, you know. And that's why being an Australian is one of the best things, because we pay tax so that those services are there when we might need them or when other people might need them and stuff. You know what I mean? We believe in the little guy here. And you can disagree with me all you like in the comments, if you like. Consensus and like lived reality is not up for a popular vote, or consensus is, I guess, but like the prior consensus, everything that's already occurred and legislated is, you don't have a say on it. You know what I mean? Like, Australians do care about the little guy. Australians do care about it. Australians, broadly speaking, are centre left on a global perspective or a global scale. And I like that. But it is a bit of a slap in the face. I'm not going to lie. It's frustrating every time Albo talks about social housing, or the Labor Party talk about social housing, because the system is fucked at the moment. I don't see how anyone's getting help or anyone's getting helped. There's nowhere near enough adequate funding. There are nowhere near adequate enough houses. It's an exercise in futility, the things they make you do to be a participant of the programs. And no one is being helped currently. And so it is a slap in the face to have the Prime Minister be like, oh, I grew up in social housing. My mum was a houser, and now look at me, I'm the Prime Minister. Because no one in social housing at the moment could go on to do that. That Anthony Albanese and his story is a result of Whitlam policies and Hawke policies that have since been taken out by the Howard government and not replaced by Anthony Albanese. If he wants to have his legacy be that of a houso kid come good, he needs to fix the housing system. But anyway, I will actually pause, check on my kids, and come back to the rest of the discussion in a second. Anyway, I will stop whinging about housing because I'm in a very good position at the minute, you know what I mean? Like, there are things that I have to do here that I wouldn't have had to do if we were on our own, but like, I actually enjoy them. I enjoy being of service, if that makes sense, or of use. I think it's good. I enjoy it. And the kids are cute, and they're really good for my kids too, like the socialisation aspect of it and stuff. And one of the other two have the same conditions that one of my two have, and so it's like it's a cool little positivity model. You know what I mean? I enjoy it, and I'm very happy to be here with them doing our thing, because, like, you know, yeah, as I said, there are things I have to do that I wouldn't otherwise, but there are things that I don't have to do that I would otherwise as well, you know? Like, it's a real, like I said, you scratch my back, I scratch yours sort of situation. And I fuck with it. I really enjoy it. And so it's like, it's this relief as well, you know? Like, this real cool, calming sort of experience living here. Especially in the mornings with all the different, like, all the kid noise. Four different kids, you know? 3 of which are neurodivergent. It's a cacophony, I think the word is, of just giggling and cuteness, and it's really good. It's overstimulating, don't get me wrong, but I'd rather be overstimulated by that than stress. You know what I mean? Like, it could be way worse. And I enjoy it a lot. Speaking of NDIS, both kids have been approved, which is fucking phenomenal. You know what I mean? I've got an amount for Apollo, which is just around $30,000, which will be a speechy and an OT for consistent sessions for a year, and then we'll review it and it'll get increased. That's just generally how it goes with NDIS. JJ, I'm yet to get an amount because on the day that Apollo was approved, they asked if JJ was a citizen, and it's like, yeah, I sent his citizenship through with Apollo's, you know? Nonsense, but like bureaucracy, you know how that works. And he's been approved now, which is good, and so we just got to get an amount. But it's, you know, the list of maladies or whatever, like, that's not the term they used, but the list of things that they've got funding for, JJ's was 3 times the length of Apollo's, so I'm pretty certain it's going to be up around, you know, 70, 80K, which would be fucking unreal. Like, per annum. Like I said before, Australia's the best country, and the NDIS stuff is amazing, and I am, like, so thankful. So thankful. It's not, the words can't even describe how amazing the NDIS is going to be for us. And it already is, you know what I mean? We have access to support workers that can clean the house and shit. Like, it's a big factor of, like how we're able to all cohabitate, you know what I mean, is the NDIS and the services that I can get from NDIS and that the other family can get from NDIS as a unit together, you know what I mean? Like, it's really cool. Family daycare, I've got them started in as well. They aren't yet going because they've got to be fully vaccinated, and I'm not against vaccines in any capacity. I just let it go a little bit too long because too many balls in the air, you know, too many pots on the stove, etc., etc. So I've booked them in, and they're getting 2 vaccinations on Tuesday. Today, the day I'm filming this, is Sunday. So they're getting vaccines on Tuesday, and then they'll be ready to go and in. I did think it was a bit quirky, vaccine-wise. They would have been fully up to date, but they got a vaccine, like the way it was described to me is they were given a vaccine in America that only Americans get. And it's a certain type of vaccine. Like, and this is the thing, I'm just so trusting as an Australian who has universal healthcare, who's always just gone to the doctor when he was sick and done what they said and not been sick. Like, I am really, really trusting of medical professionals, and I'm like, yep, my kid has to get vaccinated, like, stab him, put whatever, like, make it so he's vaccinated, cool, and like not looking into it, you know what I mean, and not being one of those like, oh, what's in the vaccine sort of people. But like, it did sort of like ring a cobwebbed back in my mind alarm bell, you know, when it was like, oh, those vaccines are only done in America, so like he can't finish that vaccine trial. What's the word? Like, he'd done 2 out of the 6 or whatever. He can't finish that because they're only in America. So we'll start him again on the other ones, and we'll have to give him both at the same time, because they're the ones that are given in Australia. And I'm like, well, why aren't all of us giving our kids the same vaccines? Like, isn't that how it works? Like, what's the story there? Why are there certain vaccines that only American kids get? What's that about? But I'm sure it's just branding and like fucking, like, you know, with television rights and stuff, Rupert Murdoch, you can't watch Game of Thrones like on any channel other than Showtime, which is on Foxtel, like, and there are so many different things. Like the different rights to things, like maybe Pharma, like sports, don't have a contract in Australia that they do in America or something like that. I'm sure it's that, not some broader like, ooh, American kids, let's test this or that or whatever, you know what I mean? But yeah, anyway, Easter was really fun. My kids had some bilbies, which are like a little, like it's an Australian thing, you know me, I'm like just culturally obsessed with Australiana and whatnot. Car woes, I still don't have another car. I'm still driving a hire car, but I'm going to take that back this week and pay. Like, it's funny. If I didn't have the hire car, I wouldn't have saved the money, but I've been putting the money aside each day for the hire car, and so it looks like I've saved really well in my account. And yes, but I'm going to take the hire car back this week because I have the other car from the other family here and whatnot that they can't drive at the minute, and so I'm going to use that and like really eat into or build upon my savings to buy a decent vehicle and whatnot as well. It's been like crazy. I bumped into a guy the other day and he was like, man, you change cars more often than I change my underwear, because I was driving the other one. And I went to laugh it off, and he was like, nah, seriously, you had this one and then this one and then this one and then this one now in the space of a month. Like, what's the story? And I was like, yep, just a fucking shit go, bro. Like, that's just the story, you know? Like, maybe I am not a great driver. I don't know. It's like 3 of the 4 were not my fault. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, that was sort of an update. I'm still loving life. I'm still viewing things as a positive on the whole. Like, positively, I am in a very good place in Australia. I'm very happy to be back in Australia rather than where I was at mentally in America. My mental health is pretty good. Like, as I said, a lot of pots on the stove, a lot of balls in the air. But I genuinely feel like I'm doing all right. Like, that I'm actually juggling successfully and adding a bit of flair in while I do it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like the act of juggling is too stressful or anything like that. Like, there are a lot of pots on the stove, but like Gordon Ramsay has a lot of pots on the stove, and then he makes a fucking amazing chicken schnitzel. I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, like, I think some people were supposed to have lots of pots on the stove. I'm at my best when I have lots of pots on the stove, you know? And I'm in a really good position at the moment. I'm enjoying life, even if it is like more stressful than it would have been if I'd gone and followed in that insurance path in my early 20s. Like, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't have to get up at any point each day. Like, I don't set alarms. I get up by my own kid's schedule. We go down by my own schedule. Like, I live freely. I'm a free person, you know. I'm not beholden to anyone else's decision making, and that's important to me. And it's something I'm achieving quite well at the moment. And my kids are thriving. My kids had the best Easter they've ever had this Easter, which is like, it's meant a lot to me. My son's like playing and stuff. They're bonding really well with the other kids here as well, and they're really good kids. And so it's like, as with the rest of my life, as you know, if you're a recent subscriber to the channel, scroll through and have a look at all my different vlogs and whatnot. Like, I'm not a traditional sort of dude. I don't do things normal, for lack of a better term. You know what I mean? But I'm very happy with where I'm at, and I think you know, if more people lived like me, there'd be more happiness around. I think a lot of people like spend most of their life making themselves sad by doing things they feel like they have to do. And I don't have to do shit. Like, absurdism rather than nihilism. Let absurdism win. I guess that's what I'm saying. Just be fucking whimsy. Get a bit of whimsy about your cunt. Like, life's all right. And yeah, you got to pay attention and you got to do the shit that's important, but don't forget to stop every now and then just to make a weird noise. Like, you know, it is what it is. Life is for living, and these things are part of living, you know. I feel grateful to be trusted. I feel grateful to be trustworthy. I feel grateful for my position in the community. Like, I reckon every day for a week now, I've had someone be like, hey man, I watch your videos, like locally and whatnot. And I think that's like, what is fame? You know, like we're at the pub a couple of weeks ago, and it was really cool because I had just moved into this place, and we went to the sports club like as a unit, you know, the two families, we all went there to hang out and do stuff. And first of all, like, the son from this place is so super protective of my sons. It was like one of the coolest moments ever in the playground there, where these other older kids were mocking Apollo and like teasing the way he talks. And the other kid, like from here and from the other family here and whatnot, just like literally squared up to him. He was looking up like that. And he was like, no, that's, you know, like, and it was really cool to see that like protective instinct. And it's cool for my kids that exists and that's there, but I've lost my train of thought. It's really cool. I'm enjoying life. Life is good. I lost my train of thought, but yeah, politics-wise, I'm going to do a whole video on the election campaign coming up. If you are still watching this because you wanted a political update or a political vibe, like vote for, and you're in the Wallandilly electorate, if you're in the Wallandilly area, that's it. I was talking about local politics and stuff. We're at the pub, we're at the bar, fame and locally known and whatnot. We're at the pub. We went as a unit and we were there and we were having food and the kids were all playing and stuff, and this guy came over with a picture of me and my videos and was like, hey man, this is you, right? And I was like, yeah, that's me. And he's like, that's cool, man. I was just saying to my like people over there, and like a couple more people came over and like we had a whole conversation and it was mad. And then they walked away, and the person I'm living with here she was like, well, that was impressive. Well, that was cool, you know? And I'm like, yeah, that is cool, you know? And like, I bumped into a local counsellor, and she said, g'day, Julian, like as I was driving past in the grocery store. Like, I love that I found somewhere to live in Wallandilly, and I'm really enjoying the fact that like people know who I am. And I know that sounds conceited and that sounds shit, but like I love cleaning up the rubbish that those videos I do. I love talking about politics, and I'm going to go in and check on my kids one more time, and then we're going to talk local politics. Anyway, talk about a long-ass update, right? I apologise for the 20 minutes. I mean, except I don't, because I'm not going to say sorry for you watching a video. You're clearly here and you want to see what I have to say. I am going to be voting in the Hume electorate in the upcoming federal election, and I'm going to be voting for Peter McLean, who is an independent. I don't know much about him. I'm not telling you who to vote for. I'm just desperate for Angus Taylor not to win, but he probably will. He gets in on first preference majority every year. Like every election, he's probably going to get over 50% of the first preference votes anyway, so it doesn't really matter. It's like he's in a very, very safe Liberal seat in Wallandilly, which is frustrating. The boundaries have changed, and we no longer include Goulburn, which is where he actually lives and whatnot. But like, he's the Shadow Treasurer. He's got more significant name recognition than anyone bar Peter Dutton in the Liberal Party. He's probably going to win. I am going to vote for Peter McLean anyway, though, because he's an independent. He's a councillor from Camden. All my politics friends, like all the councillors, the mayor, that like everyone I know, and I haven't spoken about it with the mayor, but all the councillors and state politicians and stuff that I know are on board with Peter McLean, and I like them, so I figure I'll like him. When I say on board with, I mean like have shared his political openings and stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like that, and he's the head of Cycling Australia. He's an advocate for the environment. He does Clean Up Australia Day stuff, and I've seen him throughout that sort of capacity, you know what I mean? I don't know what his politics are regarding culture war stuff, but I know he's not Angus Taylor, and I know he's a bit of a lefty with a conservative bent, you know what I mean? Which is sort of my vibe. And so, yeah, I'll be voting for him. Locally, I think you should vote for him. Put him as the first preference, and then put whoever you want, second, third, fourth, you know, like we've got a trumpets of patriotism candidate or whatever, you know, the Clive Palmer nonsense, so you can put them wherever you want. We've got a One Nation candidate, the Pauline Hanson nonsense, you can put them wherever you want. The Labor candidate is a local, actually does live in the electorate, but they didn't do any pre-selection process. They don't really fucking care. It's about who you know, not what you know, or what you can do or get done or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I haven't seen him locally in the community. I don't recognise his name. I am told by other people who I do recognise and do know about locally and whatnot that he is active in the community, and he's not a bum sort of thing. He's not just being parachuted in like a Nathaniel Smith in the seat of Whitlam, which is fucking, like, he might win as well, which is ridiculous. But, you know, that's what the Liberal Party do. They parachute their preferred people into safe seats as opposed to actually having them run on values and win. Yeah, like. But anyway, this is nearly a half hour long now, and it was certainly not my intent to have it go that long. If you're still watching at this point, do me a solid, write the word rhubarb in the comments. Hit the share button and copy link. You don't have to necessarily send it to anyone. You can do if you want, but hit the share button and copy link because it helps me algorithmically. These people give me money every month, either via Patreon or YouTube Premium, or like, you know what, you know. I like money. Turning some of your money into mine on a monthly basis would be ideal. Failing that, just like I said, click the like button, click the share button. Every click helps algorithmically, and yeah, I will try, now that everything's all good housing-wise, and we're a little bit more solid, we've got some like ground to develop roots into and whatnot. I will be trying to post more frequently. I've got some scripts written in regards to Australian history videos. I've not fully completed the one on Moyen Gully, because I want to have a chat with one of his descendants and just like get there okay about some things that are like, you know, 50-50. Could be disputed, might have happened one way, might have happened another way, I'm not quite sure. And so, yeah, Moyen Gully, that script is almost done, but I just want to get the approval from his descendants who are quite active in the local Aboriginal community. And I've also got two scripts written, one about Henry Lawson and one about, what's his name? Bush poet. That might have been Henry Lawson. Reading, like, he was basically Australia's Benjamin Franklin. Like, what's his name? It's Tenterfield, like the Tenterfield Oration is what I'm thinking of. The guy who was like, let's become a country to keep the fucking Chinese out, which is 100% what it was about. It was about our gold and our gold mines and making sure that the Chinese didn't get the wealth. And it's not racist to say that. It's racial, not racist. But anyway, if that name pops up into my head while I'm doing the edit, I'll put it up there. It's probably Henry Lawson. Anyway, I'll see you guys when I look at you. You'll see me when you look at me. Thanks so much for watching this. Write rhubarb in the comments. Hit share. Consider giving me some of your cash. And yeah, poke around the channel, watch some of my other shit. If you're just high and scrolling, you know, scroll on my channel some more. It's really beneficial for me. Love yous. I'll see you when I look at you. You'll see me when you look at me. Thanks for watching.